Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mage portion of the Bachatarockstar Journey to Ungoro review series. Promised you I would do every single dang card, and I'm gonna finish that promise. Gonna make that promise a reality. That's the plan. So, let's open the Waygate. What's a Waygate, you ask? It is a quest for Mage that says cast 6 spells that didn't start in your deck, and your reward is Time Warp. What's Time Warp? It's a 5 mana spell that says take an extra turn. This card blows my frickin' mind. So I have some thoughts on it. One, this is a quest that you don't necessarily want to complete super fast. Unlike, for instance, the Hunter quest, or to a lesser extent, the Druid quest before this, taking the extra turn is actually something that's going to require a lot of prep to sort of set up. So, there's already been some talk of Arcane Giant, Molten Giant, open the Waygate, bam. Then, effectively what you're doing is you're giving your minions charge. Because when you play them and you take your extra turn, they've slept and they've recovered from their summoning sickness and they're just awake now and they're going to punch you in the face. So that's awesome. Yeah, like I said, if you play something that has charge, you're effectively giving that an additional attack. So, I don't know. Maybe you go Leroy and Time Warp on one turn, you bang for 6. And then on the next turn, you go, Faceless Manipulator, and then bang for another 18. That's a combo. Maybe you just store up a bunch of burn, and then you go, you use 15 mana worth of burn to hit them in the face. That's something. I don't know. I mean, we're losing Roaring Torch, so there's not that much burn anymore. And you're losing Ice Lance. So I think the OTK burn combo is not really there, but certainly a minion-based OTK combo is definitely there because of Time Warp. And I think that's why they rotated those two particular cards out, was to sort of force you to set up a minion-based OTK combo, which is what they're fine with. But this card doesn't have to be used for an OTK. It could just be used to get an advantage, like a board advantage. Maybe you have 15 mana worth of shit that you need to play, and that's the only way to do it, is to Time Warp it. And again, we're assuming that you're playing this card on 10 mana, because that gives you the most amount of mana over the course of 2 turns to play. You don't have to do that. You can just play it again, and then maybe you already have a board, and then just attack again and kill him. So in theory, you could basically give your creatures that are on the board Wind Fury. Maybe you just set up a board and then go smack, 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 and then realize that, you'll have lethal if you just Leroy and then do it again. So, I mean, the applications of this are endless. It's not just an OTK, like I said. It could just be something to allow you to come back from a really bad board state, Maybe you need a turn to Flame Strike twice, and that will clear your opponent's entire board. This lets you do that. I'm just saying, there's a lot of different things you can do, and I think this quest is going to be crazy good. My only concern is, can you hold out that long without Reno Jackson? Remains to be seen. It's pretty simple to cast 6 spells that didn't start in your deck. They're giving the Mage a lot of things to do, but already off the top of my head, Babbling Book, Kabbalist Tome, Cabal Courier, Cabal Chemist. There's a lot of stuff already. And then this card, Shimmering Tempest, 2 mana, 2/1 elemental, add a random mage spell to your hand. There you go. There's another spell. I think this card is cool. I think it'll definitely see play in Elemental Mage and in Time Warp Mage, and those might be the same thing. You know? And then there's Pyros, 2 mana, legendary, 2/2. Death Rattle, return this to your hand as a 6/6 that costs 6, and then as that has a Death Rattle that returns to your hand as a 10 mana 10/10. So you're always going to get elementals to play. Well, when I think about this card, I think about what elementals do we want to play so badly on turn 3, on turn 7, and then sometime after turn 10. Well, after turn 10, who knows? You know, I mean, that's on you. But curving into turn 3, I don't know, I couldn't really think of any like big elemental plays that you'd want to do on turn 3, but it's still a 2 mana 2/2, so I mean, you know, contest the board. But turn 6, rolling into turn 7, you'll see later on there's a card called Blaze Caller, which is a 7 mana 6/6 that deals 5 damage, so essentially it's a better Firelands portal. Guess what? This 6 mana 6/6 curves right into Blaze Caller on turn 7, effectively flipping the board, getting you ready. What could be good is maybe you play this on turn 3 with another elemental, and then that will allow you to curve into this guy. Oh, whoops. This guy, Steam Surger. So, I mean, there's stuff there. I don't think that Mage got quite as many elemental tools as Shaman did. I think Shaman is going to be the dominant elemental class. That being said, Mage does have some elemental tools, but it seems like they're kind of more oriented towards completing the quest as opposed to sort of doing something that's clearly elemental based. It feels like Shaman is going to curve out and just elemental, all the way up to turn 8 with their fucking boss legendary. Whereas Mage is probably going to be like putting spells in there, playing cards, trying to get more cards, acquiring more value. It feels like it's going to be a very value-oriented deck until it gets set up its OTK and then just smack you in the face and win. And so that's really the thing, is I feel like you have to somehow try to prevent that from happening as the opposing player, or kill them really fast. I don't know. I think this deck is vulnerable to aggro. And I don't think that Pyros or Shimmering Tempest or anything like that help you out with aggro. However, I do feel like this card, Archeologist, actually does. Because you can draw a secret, and then, you know, maybe you draw an ice barrier and you protect yourself for 8, effectively healing yourself for 8. Maybe you draw your ice block and get that set up right away, and then you can Medee's Valet, and you can, Ethereal Arcanist. There's other stuff. You know, so maybe a secret elemental quest deck might be something you can do. I don't know. But what's nice is you're getting all these different tools to address a lot of different issues. You know, and here's another great card to help with the quest. Discover a spell, reduce its cost by 2. How awesome is that? Obviously, it's going to be a mage spell because Discover effects are class, you know, are dictated by class. But here's a thought. Primordial Glyph into Primordial Glyph into Primordial Glyph 6 times. Boom, quest done. Meh? Not so bad. You know, and this isn't, you know, what's nice about this is this 2 mana card that reduces the cost of the spell by 2, and it's a Discover, so you get to pick that card. So effectively, any 2 mana spell becomes a 0 mana spell. That's pretty nice. So I don't know. I mean, like, I think this is a good card. I think it's neat. It's going to see a lot of play in the Mage deck and the Quest deck. And there's Flame Geyser, 2 mana, deal 2 damage, add a 1/2 elemental to your hand. So effectively giving you more elemental synergy, dealing a little bit of damage, a little bit of early game removal. Mage is losing Arcane Blast, so this card could be a replacement for that. But, you know, like I said, it just effectively maintains your elemental synergy. I think it's a nice card. It's a nice little addition. And then Mana Bind, 3 mana, secret. When your opponent casts a spell, add a copy to your hand that costs 0. So this is nice, you know. It kind of works the same as Counterspell, but Counterspell counters a card, whereas this one gives you that card for 0. So a lot of people online have been saying, oh, well, they'll just use the coin, and then, you know, you get a coin, and that sucks. And I'm like, getting a coin is not bad. One, it's extra mana, so you essentially get some ramp. How good is that in Mage? That's fucking awesome. Maybe that's the card that allows you to squeeze in that Fireball. 2, it gives you a 0-cost spell. That's great. You can pair that up with Archmage Antonidas and immediately get a Fireball. 3, the spell that you get didn't start in your deck, so it counts towards the quest, as does any Fireballs that you get from Archmage Antonidas. So even if all you get is a coin, this is a fucking good card. Combo that with Archeologist, and you'll always have a mana bind on turn 3. That's really good. Then you're always going to have value. You're always going to have spells. Mages are going to have a shit ton of cards in their hand all the time. You know, Archeologist cycles itself. Mana bind cycles itself. Boom. And then, of course, this next card, Steam Surger, 4 mana, 5/4. If you played an elemental last turn, add a Flame Geyser to your hand. Cycles itself. This is a nice, strong body. It has elemental synergy. Then it also gives you a Flame Geyser that didn't start in your hand. That counts towards the quest. That refills your hand. Think about how many cards Mage has gotten that recycles itself, that gives you an additional card. All of them that I've just listed. Every single minion in here pretty much gets you another card. Right? Look, Shimmering Tempest gets a random Mage spell. Pyros gives you a 6/6 and then a 10/10. Archeologist gets you a secret. Primordial Glyph, discover a spell. Flame Geyser, I'm out of fingers. Mana Bind gets you a spell. Steam Surger gets you a spell. Molten Reflection gets you another minion. 4 mana, choose a friendly minion, summon a copy of it. That's awesome. Slightly worse than Faceless Manipulator because you can't copy your opponent's shit. But, you know, how are you going to use this? Well, guess what? Arcane Giant for 0 mana. Oh, Molten Reflection. 3rd Arcane Giant. Time Warp, bam, 24 to face. This is effectively just an extra giant to smack him in the face with. How awesome is that? Maybe you copy a Sarah, and now you're getting 2 copies of shit all day long. Anything with like an end of turn effect. You know, obviously Emperor Thorison's not in Standard anymore, but something like that, where like the end of turn effect gets copied again, you know, or some sort of death rattle gets copied again. Maybe another Pyros. Maybe you get a bunch of Pyroses, and then you just N'Zoth. And then you get a 2/2, a 2/2, a 6/6, and a 6/6 back. How fucking cool is that? Right? Maybe this becomes part, like a N'Zoth package can literally be created with just 2 cards. Pyros and N'Zoth. That's all you need. Molten Reflection, throw it in there too. You know? Maybe you drop your 10 mana 10/10, you Molten Reflection it, and then boom! Double huge Phoenixes to the face. Game over, man. There's so much shit Mage can do. I'm actually pretty amazed at the subtlety of the package here. Like these things don't come to mind until you really sort of just think about the cards, and then you're like, wow, the possibilities are endless. You know, same thing with this card right here, Meteor, just nice big giant fucking board clear, right? Maybe instead of playing Time Warp offensively to set up an OTK, you use it defensively to help clear your opponent's board, right? You can go Meteor, clear your opponent's board, Time Warp, Flame Strike the next turn, boom. You've done 15 damage to one minion and 7 damage to everybody else. It's all gone, and you can still develop minions behind that. You know, and there's already so many good Mage cards that do the same thing. Like I said, Kabbalist Tome is something that recycles itself, and you know, Babbling Book is something that recycles itself. And so I think Mage, a value Mage, a grinder Mage, Time Warp, OTK, grinder mage can be there, you know? I mean, like, I love decks that have, like, names that are, like, 10 words long because it's really cool. It's really specific. And so, like, I feel like the deck building potential for mage to make really, really interesting decks is totally there. So, yeah, excited for Mage. I think it's really cool, and just the ability to take that extra turn is just such a neat idea. I'm so glad they went with that and not some sort of elemental themed legendary. That kind of would have sucked in my opinion. Yeah, so incredible. I'm excited for Mage. Are any of these going to be tier 1? I mean, who knows, man. Being able to take that extra turn is just so big and could easily make Mage tier 1. Just the possibilities are endless. You know, taking 2 turns is just so strong. And I'd be shocked if Mage was not highly competitive in the next meta. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Thank you so much for watching this Mage-oriented analysis video. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next class after this. But thank you for watching. Keep learning. Keep rocking. The Rockstar will see you later. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to see more videos, you can see the most recent videos here. You can see a recommended playlist here. And if you want to subscribe, you go right here. Thank you so much. Keep learning, keep rocking, and the Rockstar will see you later.